When you think of a historic diaspora or a Chinatown, what is the very first image that pops into your head? For most people, it is a landscape of low slung, weathered roof tiles, narrow alleys, the heavy aroma of roasted meats, and generations of families running small storefronts. In Ho Chi Minh City, that classic image belongs to Cho Lon in District 5. But lately, a completely different kind of cultural anchor has been quietly emerging, and it looks nothing like the historic enclaves we are used to. It is vertical, sleek, and wrapped in glass.
It is fascinating because this shift represents a massive departure from traditional migration patterns. Instead of settling in older, historically established neighborhoods, a new wave of young professionals, tech entrepreneurs, and logistics experts from mainland China are choosing to cluster in Vinhomes Central Park, right in Binh Thanh district. It is a massive modern development dominated by Landmark 81, one of the tallest skyscrapers in Southeast Asia. This is not a slow, generational integration. It is a rapid, high-tech adaptation to a modern city.
It really makes you wonder why this specific spot became such a massive magnet. Out of all the luxury developments scattered across Saigon, why Vinhomes Central Park? What is the core appeal for this modern demographic?
It comes down to a concept we can call the vertical city lifestyle. If you look at megacities like Shenzhen, Shanghai, or Guangzhou, life is defined by hyper-efficiency. You live, work, shop, and socialize within a very tight radius. Vinhomes replicates that exact ecosystem. You take an elevator down from your apartment, and within a 5-minute walk, you have international hospitals, high-end supermarkets, schools, and a massive shopping mall. For a young tech professional or an e-commerce entrepreneur who values time above everything else, this all-in-one convenience is incredibly familiar and comforting.
That makes sense. It is almost like a plug-and-play lifestyle. You move in, and the entire infrastructure of modern life is already set up for you. But it is not just about the concrete and the convenience, is it? There is a very strong natural element there too.
Exactly. The 14-hectare Riverside Park is a massive draw. In many dense Asian urban centers, green space is a luxury. Having a massive park right by the Saigon River appeals to a cultural appreciation for wellness and outdoor activity. If you walk through the park at dawn or dusk, you will hear groups chatting in Mandarin, and you will see elderly residents practicing Tai Chi under the trees. It is a fascinating blend of high-tech convenience and traditional lifestyle habits, all coexisting in the same space.
It sounds like they have managed to recreate a sense of home, but in a very modern format. And you can really see this reflected in the commercial landscape on the ground level. If you walk past the shop houses beneath the residential towers, it is not just standard retail. It has evolved into a highly specialized ecosystem.
It really has. We are seeing a boom in authentic, mainland flavors that go far beyond the localized Chinese Vietnamese cuisine we usually find in the older districts. We are talking about fiery Sichuan hot pot, hand-pulled Lanzhou noodles, and late-night barbecue spots serving authentic spices. The signage is bilingual, and the service staff are often fluent in both Vietnamese and Mandarin.
It is like a self-sustaining microeconomy, and I understand this extends to digital spaces as well, right? The community is incredibly connected online.
Yes, the digital infrastructure is just as important as the physical one. The residents rely heavily on dedicated WeChat groups to navigate daily life. Through these groups, they share recommendations for housekeepers, coordinate grocery deliveries of imported goods, trade tips on local paperwork, and even run informal marketplaces. It is a highly organized, hyper-localized network that operates parallel to the physical neighborhood.
That digital layer is so interesting because it allows a community to form instantly without waiting decades for physical institutions to grow. But it also raises an interesting question about integration. When a community becomes this self-sufficient, does it risk becoming an isolated bubble, or is there genuine interaction with the local Vietnamese community?
That is the crucial question. From what we observe, it is actually turning into a unique space for cultural exchange rather than a closed-off enclave. It is a two-way street. On one hand, you have Chinese residents who are eager to experience local culture. They are buying their morning Vietnamese iced coffee, learning the language, and exploring local culinary scenes. On the other hand, local Vietnamese residents get direct access to contemporary Chinese trends, food, and products without ever leaving their neighborhood. It is a very fluid, modern form of cosmopolitanism.
So it is less about assimilation and more about mutual convenience and curiosity. But we also have to look at the broader impact of this kind of rapid development. When a high concentration of relatively wealthy expatriates moves into a specific area, it inevitably changes the local economy.
Absolutely, and that is where the challenges lie. The high demand for housing in this specific pocket has naturally driven up rental prices and the overall cost of living in the immediate area. For young local professionals who might want to live in a modern development like this, the price tag has become increasingly prohibitive. It creates a sort of economic stratification where certain zones become accessible only to high-earning expats or affluent locals.
It is a classic urban dilemma. You build a world-class, highly convenient space, and it attracts global talent. But it also risks pricing out the very people who make the city run. And then there are the daily, micro-level interactions. Living in such a dense, multicultural environment must come with some friction, even if it is minor.
When thousands of people from diverse cultures share spaces like elevators and parks, misunderstandings can occur due to different norms around behavior and noise. However, a centralized professional property management provides a standard way to resolve disputes. On a personal level, simple gestures like a nod or smile help bridge language barriers and ease tensions.
It shows that community building in the 21st century is less about shared history and more about shared rules of coexistence. We are moving away from the old model of immigrant neighborhoods built on survival and mutual aid toward master-planned communities built on lifestyle preferences and economic utility.
Traditional Chinatowns formed out of necessity as immigrants sought support and protection. In contrast, modern vertical enclaves are chosen by global citizens for their career and lifestyle, marking a completely different beginning.
It makes you wonder what the future of global cities looks like. If high-earning professionals can find these identical, hyper-convenient vertical hubs in every major city, will they start moving between them seamlessly, living in a sort of global network of identical luxury towers?
We may see a global class of residents moving between standardized vertical hubs in cities like Saigon, Bangkok, Singapore, or Dubai with little friction. However, the challenge is to keep these hubs connected to local culture and society. Isolating in a vertical bubble risks missing the city's true energy and spirit.
That brings us back to the balance we see at Vinhomes. The fact that the residents are stepping out into the park, interacting with local businesses, and embracing the local coffee culture suggests that the bubble is still permeable. The local environment still has a way of shaping the people who live there, no matter how modern the towers are.
Exactly. You can build the most modern tower in the world, but the cool breeze coming off the Saigon River and the warmth of the local community will always ground you in the reality of Vietnam. It is a beautiful reflection of how Saigon continues to evolve. It remains a city of open arms, dynamic and inclusive, welcoming new waves of people and helping them find a little piece of home, even if that home is on the 40th floor of a modern skyscraper.
It is a fascinating evolution to watch. As we wrap up today, it leaves us with plenty to think about regarding how our cities are changing, how communities form in the digital age, and what it truly means to feel at home in a foreign country. Thank you for sharing these insights today. And to our listeners, next time you pass by those towering blocks, take a moment to look beyond the glass and think about the vibrant, modern communities taking shape inside. Until next time, take care.